In this second part of our videos covering the closed substance workflow, we'll look at some adjustment options that are available with substance files exported from xTex. We'll start with the same metallic material from the first video. It's important to work with the most accurate representation of our material properties, so we'll start by enabling Close Interactive Render for viewing our material. Next, with the substance fabric selected in the object browser, we can expand the Custom Properties section and then the U3M Basic Parameters section. We'll look at how these options affect the material, starting with Roughness at the bottom of the list. Roughness determines how glossy or rough your material looks. If we open our roughness map, we can see the values ranging from black to white. The darkest parts of this roughness map correspond with the metallic yarn, which is shiny and smooth, and the lighter values are the rougher main fabric with less reflectiveness. If we adjust the roughness contrast slider, it changes the contrast between the black and the white values on the roughness map. As we can see, the look of the metallic yarn changes when we adjust the contrast value. When adjusting the main roughness slider, we can tweak the influence of our roughness map from 100% at the default value of 1 down to 0, which turns off the roughness map and makes the material completely glossy. Next is the normal map intensity. If our material surface structure detail is too strong, we can adjust the normal slider to reduce the intensity. The next two options affect the metallic properties of a material. If we open our Metalness map, we can see this one has black and white values as well. Metallic features are white and non-metallic features are black. Adjusting the Metalness contrast slider increases the contrast between the black and white values. The effect of this can be seen as the material updates and the metallic yarn becomes brighter. Just like the roughness slider, the metallic slider tweaks the influence of the map from 100% to 0%. Typically, this should be set to 1 or 0, but it does allow for values in between. For the next setting, we'll switch to this cream color mesh material. Moving back to our options, just above the Metalness slider, we have the Toggle Recolor option. This is a toggle that can be set to 1 or 0 to turn the option on or off. We'll set the toggle to 1, our current material color map will be automatically desaturated, and a recolor selection option will be enabled below the toggle. Clicking the white box brings up a color selection dialog, and we can choose an option for our material. The base color map is desaturated before recoloring to provide more accurate results, since the new color is multiplied over the existing base color map to preserve any existing detail. Without this desaturation, the previous color would influence the newly selected color. The next three settings adjust the alpha map and the overall transparency of our material. The alpha contrast slider, similar to the other contrast sliders, adjusts the contrast between the black and white values in the alpha map. We can adjust the alpha contrast slider to tweak the look of the holes in our mesh material. The opacity setting is an overall percentage of transparency. If we set it to 0.8, we have an 80% opaque material. Setting it to 0.5 gives us 50% transparency, and we can now see the drape ball behind the mesh here because the material is much more transparent. The last option in this section is Toggle Alpha. Setting this to 0 will completely disable transparency. This can help as a temporary option when adjusting other visual properties on a highly transparent material. We'll switch to another material for this final section. We have covered the U3M basic parameters and don't need to modify anything in the advanced section, so we can collapse all of these to clean up the view and expand the displacement parameters section. Displacement is useful on materials like this example that have crinkling or other larger three-dimensional features. Looking at this crepe material in the render window, we can see the profile looks very flat right now. Moving to the displacement parameters, the amount setting determines the height of the displacement and is set to 0 by default, which disables displacement completely. The other notable setting is the particle distance, which can be lowered to increase the amount of displacement detail. We'll enter 1 for the amount and 2 for the particle distance. Looking at the updated render window, we can now see peaks and valleys on our 3D model from the large wrinkles as we would expect to see in this material.